Hi and welcome to Create Today, hosted by Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. I'm designer Jen Gallagher and I'm hosting a brand new video series called Just Ask Jen. In this series, I'll be answering questions about photography, layout design, embellishments, as well as tips and tricks for using the latest techniques on your layouts. If you have questions, you're welcome to post them in the video series, as well as email ideas at scrapbookandcards.com. Be sure to use the subject line Just Ask Jen. I hope you'll join me as we use this monthly series to answer any questions you might have about scrapbook and layout design. In today's video, I will be using the Hipster collection from Basic Grey, including buttons, wood veneer, file folders, vintage stamps, tape strips, garland, as well as the pattern paper and stickers contained within this collection. I will be answering the question of how to alter wood veneer, as well as how to incorporate some hidden journaling on your layout. Let's get started. So one of the things I wanted to show you in today's tutorial is how to take wood veneer shapes and to alter them or recolor them. And one is to use spray mist, and you can use any kind. This is a gold spray mist, and it is from Heidi Swapp, and that's one way you can do it. Another way to do it, if you want a little bit more control, is to spray on a cotton ball or a foam makeup tip and just drag it across the shape. And so depending on the look that you want, you can see that the spray is a little bit thicker and the other one is a little bit thinner of a coverage. So you can do it however you want, and then just allow it to dry before adding it to your project. But you can do this with darker washes, and you can do it with more opaque colors. So many options for changing wood veneer using mist. So let me show you another way that you can add journaling to your layout wherein it's hidden a little bit. So one way you can add hidden journaling is to use fun file folders like the ones from the Hipster collection. And these file folders do open, and you can use them as is, or you can turn them inside out. They are double-sided, so you have a couple of options. And I have printed my journaling on one of the pattern papers. It is striped on one side and solid on the other. And I'm simply going to slip it in and close the file folder. And then using some small mini paper clips from Tim Holtz, I am going to attach them to the file folder. And then when I want to pull out the journaling, I can pull it out. Now this is especially good for journaling that is perhaps more private and personalized for the recipient of the layout. You could do this for a wedding layout, a special message to your spouse, or a special message to your child. And you could have other journaling that is for everyone to read, and then something that's a little bit more intimate for someone special. So this is one way that you can do hidden journaling. Now let's go ahead and create the layout. So I'm going to go ahead and start making the layout, and I'm going to use this pattern paper with the half circles on one side and gray on the other. This is one of the more feminine patterns, so if you prefer doing a layout for a girl, you can easily incorporate the hipster elements into your layout. And I'm going to go ahead and attach this at the bottom. Then I am going to take some of the striped pattern paper on which I printed, and I'm going to use this border punch from EK Success, and it is a notebook punch, meaning it mimics the look of paper that has been torn from a notebook, and it's a great neutral punch working for both boy and girl pages. And you can leave it punched as is, or you can distress it up by crinkling the elements in the border strip, and I'll show you what I mean. So you can take these elements and you can crinkle them with your fingers just to distress them a little bit more. Before I finish doing that, I'm going to trim them off the pattern paper so I can add them at the bottom of my layout. And I'm going to measure how much of them I need. And I do try to center my border strips when I am creating. Go ahead and trim it. And your border strips can be a little bit smaller than your page, as long as they work for what you're doing. You can even rip some of those off if you prefer. And we'll just add it at the bottom of this tan paper. So it creates a little bit of texture at the very bottom of the page. Now I have printed a large photo, a 5x7 photo for this layout, and it is about my son. And when I have an event that doesn't have a lot of photos, sometimes I will select one that I can make as large as possible, and that makes it stand out just a little bit more. So then I've cut some pieces from the various pattern papers, and we're going to cut them into a banner by trimming off a triangle at the very bottom. You can use a punch if you have a punch for these, or you can die cut these with a manual or digital die cut machine. You'll notice that I'm using two of the same pieces of pattern paper, but I'm using one on the blue side and one on the rust red side. This is a great way to incorporate different elements on your page. And then I'm going to tie this one with twine, and I just have some white crochet twine. You can use baker's twine, whatever you have on hand. This is another great way to add some texture. Wrap it around as many times as you'd like, and then you can tie it into a knot or a bow. And then we'll adhere this to the layout as well. So I always look for different ways to incorporate textures such as the wood veneer and other elements. From the pattern paper that has lots of different squares on it, I hand cut one from this section of the pattern paper, and it says number 1. And I want to add a little bit of ink to it, so I'm going to take a brown pigment ink pad, and I'm just going to rub the edges. And you can do this with all of the paper in this collection to distress it further. We're just going to tuck this behind the twine. Now this collection comes with a fun sheet of tape, and it also has little stars and little elements, and we are going to take some of the tape and add it to the project. And you can easily rip it. It does rip nicely, just like normal washi tape would. And we're just going to go ahead and overlap those strips and tuck in the top. So it's a great element to add. Again, more texture for your layout. At the top here is another piece of pattern paper in a diagonal stripe. This collection has lots of warm colors, which worked well for this masculine layout. And then we're going to take those two journaling pieces that are in the file folders, and we're going to adhere these to the layout, and we're going to tuck them inside this diagonal stripe. We're going to put one a little bit higher than the other, and we'll slightly overlap them. So we're building kind of a step. Then I have some stickers from the Elements sticker sheet, the record that says RAD, and the little starburst that says cool. And then I want to add some more elements to the page, and I'm going to add some from My Mind's Eye, and these are some black enamel dots. Enamel dots are really hot right now, and you can do them all one color, or you can do them a couple of different colors. So you have a couple of options there. From their garlands are double-sided, and this one is black on one side and it's multicolored on the other. And I'm going to just adhere a few of them and cut off the rest and save it for later. So you're not obligated just to use it as is. You can manipulate it and only use exactly what you need. So I can just trim off this extra piece, and I still have some of that banner left over for later. And I'll come back and adjust it until I get it exactly how I want. Now from this collection, there are also the little buttons. This one is a hand and this one is an arrow. And rather than stitch them to my page, I am going to staple them to my page, and I'm going to staple them through the two buttonholes. And I'm just going to take a standard stapler, align it the way I want it to look, and then staple. And because they're chipboard, this works very easily. It also allows me to bring in some metal elements to the layout, which to me speaks to the masculine theme. So you can see how I've just stapled these to the layout. Now let's go ahead and add the title with the wood veneer shapes that we already used and we already sprayed. And you can see that they have a fun gold shimmer to them. And gold is a really, really hot accent color right now. To adhere them, I'm just going to use some glue dots. And I don't even need to place them everywhere, just a couple of the letters. And wood veneer is just thick enough that it adds some shadow, but not too thick that you can't easily slide it into your scrapbook. So just go ahead and adhere this. And then we'll add some more enamel dots just to balance it out. And again, you can use them in all the different colors that you want. And then to finish off the layout, I'm going to use some standard tan photo corners. And these are from Canson, and you can add them to any element that you want. They come in white and black. I'm going to add them to this photo strip at the top, just for a little bit more craft colored for this layout. So there you have a layout that both changes the look of wood veneer as well as adds hidden journaling within these file folders. Thank you for joining me for today's Create Today video.